Welcome to the Raptor, an efficient and cheap to upkeep solo base design focused on withstanding onlines and offlines from small groups. It comes with 3 hidden roof bunkers within the shooting floor to split your main loot. It hosts some unique features such as an anti-door camp gatehouse, shotgun trap funnels within the shooting floor, and some insane turret pods that can cover the shooting floor, bunkers, and both the outside and inside of the compound, as you can see here in this demonstration. On a side note, thanks to reaching 10,000 subscribers, this AK skin alongside others is being given away in my Discord server. The link can be found in the description. More turrets are found to cover the roof and its entrances. Ramp bedrooms below the bunkers offer a great flank respawn point with some Patricos peaks. A unique unlootable drop-off box outside the compound allows you to quickly get back into the fight. Retake peaks connected to the inner bedroom ring allow you to regain control of important areas. Pair these great features with a spacious, cozy interior and a vending machine TC bunker makes the Raptor one of my best solo bases to date for both PC and console players. Thank you so much for 10,000 subscribers. If you do like the content you see, please consider smashing that like button or joining the Discord community down below. We start off the tour showing the simple disconnectable TC. It can be disconnected and reconnected as shown. The outside of the compound is covered by this Patricos peak here, as well as this unlootable box. This locked drop-off box allows you to quickly get back into the fight. As you know, when you're solo, you can't always loot everything in a fight, meaning you can quickly run back with this drop-off area. Inside each of the 3 external TCs, we have space for a respawn point. Here is the upkeep of each external TC. This base is incredibly cheap to upkeep for any player. As previously mentioned, here we have some Patricos peaks that are connected to our respawn bedrooms. Here is our anti-door camp gatehouse. The gap in between the foundations allows us to clear outside the gatehouse before we advance, meaning at least some distance can be made before you exit your base. The compound and gatehouse area is covered by these Patricos peaks that are connected to our bedrooms, as well as the wide gap above. The turrets within the shooting floor cover the compound as previously shown in the preview. There is space for 6 turrets within the shooting floor to cover almost the entirety of the base apart from the roof. Here we can access our drop-off box if we want to move loot safer into the base. Up this ramp here allows us to use this peak to clear the compound as well as watch for door raids, or even look back up to the base. As you can see, the turrets also cover this bedroom area. On each of the 3 sides we have space for a main respawn point alongside our battery. Up each of these ladder hatches is access to our shooting floor. I will show you that later in the build. Coming around into one of the other symmetrical parts of the compound, we can show off these funnel shotgun traps. These are a great way to surprise raiders who are running around the compound, as this is likely to be a common route to take around the compound. Once again we have another identical respawn point, and we will now just pass through to the entrance. The entrance itself is anti-door campable, as you can already peek outside the bedroom. This gap allows you to watch for door raids even from your shooting floor. Entering the second floor of the base we have space for many deployables, such as your secondary loot room and locker. Feel free to customize this area however you like. We now enter the core. Here there is space for some electric furnaces and your main loot. We use a vending machine bunker here to access our TC. Here is the upkeep of the main TC. There is also space for a small wooden box here. For the PC players out there, you can opt to change this for a stair bunker, but I wanted to make sure that the space was accessible to all players. We now enter the 3rd floor, which is our main respawn point. There is some space here for some more deployables such as storage or furnaces. On each of the 3 sides we have these retake areas. These are multi-purpose. You can use this to peek outside your base through the windows or the wide gap in front of you, as well as retake the shooting floor. It also acts as a one-way roof peak. By placing these repair benches makes you invincible from anyone camping from above. The tiny gaps in between the walls allow you to peek down where the ladder hatch is and our bunker. You can also close and open all of the doors from this area. We enter the shooting floor through this armoured door. A ladder hatch on each side connects to the flank bedrooms and our mobility chutes. We can use these ramps here to peek outside the base. This is quite basic, but you can obviously customize this however you like. We are actually stood on top of our bunker right now if you didn't realise. To open each of the bunkers, we can simply place twig from below. Of course, making sure you close the ladder hatch, you can place twig here. This will automatically open the roof bunker above. I do highly recommend only opening this bunker before you log off at night, as in an online defense, this ramp acts as your roof access as well as some peaks, not to mention you of course want your bunker sealed. Turrets in the shooting floor cover the bunkers, as well as this shotgun trap funnel that could surprise raiders. We also find some wide peaks down into the compound below, as well as some basic embrasure peaks. Once again, this is repeated on all three sides. You can actually use this tiny gap in between the frame and the wall as a grenade chute. Going up this ramp gives us access to our roof. This is a very basic roof design, so feel free to customize this if you'd like. As you can see, the turret above covers this entrance if the garage door is destroyed. As you can see, the repair bench one ways completely cover the door. 3 turrets also cover the roof protected by chain link, as well as space for some windmills. As you can see, you can use these ramps to achieve some basic peaks. To start off the build, I'm going to make it very simple. Place 3 foundations, and then place your TC in the left hand side. However, make sure you do not place a frame in front of this TC, and the placement must be perfect if you want to have a small box in your vending machine bunker. I recommend practicing the placement of this on a build server before you take it to a live server. For the sake of the build video, I will just add the final doors on, including the armoured and garage doors. Of course, in a wipe, you would add a wooden door here. I would recommend not placing this single door frame yet, as it will increase your storage space early on into the wipe. Early on, you can quickly expand by adding 2 more triangles for more loot space, as well as adding an airlock. I recommend at the earliest opportunity that you do upgrade your entire base to HQM at the center core. It is not vital that you do it at this exact stage, of course it's very unlikely you have the materials for it, but you should do this before you add the honeycomb from the external TCs. However, it is vital that you upgrade the foundation below the TC at this stage. Once you have your vending machine, you can place it like so. Make sure that you rotate it side on. The 2 boxes at the bottom should be on the left hand side, and the little grill at the bottom right hand side should be positioned like this. Then you can go left and right to line it up perfectly. It should look something like this, and then you can access your TC. I recommend leaving the foundation below the vending machine as stone before you've got the placement correct. This means if you've incorrectly placed it, you can simply soft side stone instead of metal. At a later stage, you can add a double door here as well. This is what your basic starter should look like. You can place twig as temporary roof access at this point. Now we will create our jump up. You can place a furnace as a jump up, or you can place a shelf from the outside. Upgrade the outside wall to metal, and then upgrade the jump up to metal too. Do not seal it in fully, as this is our jump up to our 3rd floor as well. You can add a garage door here at a later stage. As previously mentioned, from the outside you can add your permanent shelf in if you're still using furnaces. I recommend adding this shelf permanently before you do the external TC honeycomb, as you will not be able to access it again. Now we will complete the 2nd floor by simply adding a single door frame and then walling the rest. And add your secondary loot room on the left hand side. Now we will do our external TCs. You want to build out by 5 squares, then cap off with a triangle. This should be within the demolish range, so you should have no problem destroying the twig. You want to then come back with 2 half moons and then cap off with a triangle again. build back by another 3 squares and then cap off with another triangle. Then build back by half moons. You will not be able to place a square foundation, meaning you've got it correct. Place a triangle instead and then demolish the build out. Then you can expand by these final squares and demolish the middle triangle. You can then demolish your temporary build up to access your base. You can then add a ramp off this foundation. Once you have the resources later on, you should upgrade the 2 foundations on the left and right to HQM. This will reduce the chance for a successful foundation wipe. To access your base, you can simply place a roof ramp like so, and you can upgrade this to stone as it is permanent. Then also place a floor here. This will all be decaying right now, so we must complete our external TC. Build out by another 4 squares and then place your final 3 triangles. You want to place 2 half-height walls to make sure the disconnectable TC works. On the left hand side we will wall it in, and this is where our TC will be. Now we will connect it to each other. Place single door frames on either side and then place a window frame in front. You want to also place a half wall and then a window frame on top to connect it to the foundations. Without at least the half wall, you will not connect it to the HQM foundations and they will decay. Instead of placing only frames to connect it to the external TC, we will replace the left hand side frame to a floor. This is where our barricade will be. If you do only place frames, it's not the end of the world. You might have to just place a floor wheel on top to make sure you can place the barricade. Now repeat this on the other 2 sides and you'll be left with this. Now before you add the honeycomb using the roof ramps, you should add metal honeycomb like so that faces in the opposite direction. This means when you place these door frames on either side and rotate them the right way, a conditional will show that covers the gap. You should be left with this. Then you can go ahead and add the roof ramp. We will now repeat this on the other 2 sides. We will now place the foundations for our shooting floor and gatehouse. You can place temporary twig on each side and demolish it, and then place your final triangle. Then place 2 triangle roofs to cover the gap. Of course, repeat this on the other 2 sides as well. Once we've added this honeycomb, we can go ahead and add the permanent metal ramp inside the flank bedrooms. This will honeycomb the side of the core. This is what the base should look like. You can go ahead and seal in all of these areas using doors and window frames. You can seal in this area using full walls. This is where our flank bedroom will be. Then place half walls on either side, followed by a square frame on top for our ladder hatch. Make sure it connects to the outside TC. If you have the ladder hatch BP available and you have a level 2, you can craft them and place them in these frames. This means you can actually use this flank bedroom early on into the wipe or as an extra storage space. You can still of course use it as a storage space, but it is not airlocked, so it's not ideal if you don't have the ladder hatch. You could have done this at an earlier stage, but you can then airlock your entrance. Before you do this, I recommend placing these permanent floors here to access it. These square floors act as our Patrico peaks when we add the horizontal embrasures to our bedrooms. At this stage we can also honeycomb the other sides that aren't our airlocked entrance. You can just simply place these walls facing outwards. This will create a place for our funnel wall shotgun traps. The wall placement can be quite awkward sometimes, but you can access it through this tiny gap here. I recommend upgrading the frame to metal even though you've got a sheet door, as it acts as stability for the upper shooting floor. You do not want to expand and place a full wall on the left, as this will be a half wall for our jump up to our retake peaks. We will now complete our gatehouses and early game compound. You can skip to making the shooting floor now if you prefer, but in order to make the shooting floor complete you do need to make these gatehouses to support it, so it makes sense just to complete the compound now. Repeat this on the other two sides as well. Before we place the walls and barricades, we must complete our Patrico peak and drop-off storage area. Place a half wall on the outside, then a floor on top. Then in the remaining spots you must add low walls. It is incredibly important that you only add low walls above, as this acts as our disconnectable. If you place a full wall supporting the floor above, the disconnectable will not work. Of course, repeat once again. Now go ahead and add barricades everywhere. Now with the compound wall placement, it is very simple. You just want to push it as snug as you can against the walls. I make an error here and forget to place the other compound walls. In reality you will place 6 compound walls in total. We will now complete our shooting floor. You can add frames here for extra stability. Place full walls on the outside and then window frames on the inner side. Add frames elsewhere, including next to the wide gap, as this will be a garage door to cover the gap. Now on the outside of these retake peaks you want to place half walls and low walls, then put another half wall and then a floor on top. I would like to note that symmetry is on at this stage, so you must repeat this on the other two sides. Now you can add a door frame and then the floors on top. I recommend upgrading these to metal. Feel free to add garage doors to your shooting floor. Make sure when placing the garage door here that the roller faces outwards, covering the gap. You want to place a full wall to the other side of the jump up, and then you want to snake garage doors all the way around to this single door where we'll place our armor door. Then you can wall in the other two sides. And then simply add a floor to the top. Feel free to add garage doors to all of these frames if you'd like. I only placed 3 to reduce the cost. Add embrasures to the shooting floor as well. Now we will do our bunkers. Place half walls on each of the sides and then window frames on top. Upgrade all of these to metal and then place a floor on top as well. This will be our roof access. Make sure to place a ramp here as well after you've added the frame. I recommend placing a twig ramp first to make sure that your bunker is working. If it destroys the ramp above, then it is fine to upgrade. Go ahead and add embrasures. You can then place ladder hatches if you haven't already, but you should have done this at an earlier stage in reality. We will now complete the roof. We will now do our turret pods that cover the roof and the roof entrance. You should also add chain link to protect the turret from below. When placing these turrets, you should place them at this exact angle. Feel free to test these out on a build server if you want to achieve a different angle, but I'd recommend placing it like this. Now we will run through some other deployables. We will now place our drop-off box. You can place it by standing on the ramp behind. Remember to also lock this box. By adding these foundations here, you can leave them as wood. It helps with accessing them from the outside. You may notice that I forgot to add a floor here. As you can see, it would be impossible to place this floor if you hadn't done it previously. That's why it's important to add it at an earlier stage. You can place repair benches here to achieve a one-way. You can place shotgun traps like so on each of the sides. Of course, on the side of your entrance you will not be able to place it here. If you haven't already, you can place the boxes in your bunker by opening it like so.